Hello, writers. Today we're here to talk about the cause and effect essay and go through the assignment sheet and what is expected of you. So before I do too much talking, let's get started. Before we jump into the cause and effect essay and all the details, I first want to make the general broad statement about what this essay will be asking you to do. You will be asked to do one of two things. First, you might write about the cause or suspected cause of something else. So for this image of the dominoes falling, you would say, why are the dominoes falling? And we could say someone tapped it or a cat walked by and thought, oh, this would be fun, and knocked it over. That would be the cause. And you would explain in multiple paragraphs why you think that is the cause, or you could think of multiple causes that lead to one effect. So in this case, you are really leaning on why something happened. In the second case, you will be thinking about the effect. So you'll be thinking about the dominoes falling over. So in this case, you will assume that you know the cause. You know that somebody walked over and tapped the first domino. And after that, you will talk about, the effects. You can either talk about one individual effect or multiple effects that come from one single action. All right, so let's dive into this a little deeper. So for this assignment, you will describe an event or problem that is the effect and argue how specific forces work together to create that event or problem. So as I said before, we are looking at either an effect and its causes or a cause and its effects. Through this essay, you are going to analyze a cause to determine whether it is likely to play an important role in bringing about a particular effect, or analyze a specific effect to determine whether it is likely to result from a particular cause. Now that you have a general understanding of the assignment, let's think about why you're being asked to do this. So this assignment expands your understanding of cause and effect relationships, which will be prominent in your places of work and in the world all around us. It also reinforces your appreciation of writing as a process requiring substantive revision. Completing this assignment also helps you develop assessment, revision, and editing skills. One thing to think about throughout the world, and especially if we think about politics, is why did something happen in the first place and how can we prevent it from happening? Or to work on a solution, so we need to find out why something happened. On the other hand, you might be thinking about a project and wondering, what are going to be downstream effects of implementing this solution? Are they all going to be positive effects? Are there possibly going to be negative effects? And this could roll out in all of your life. If you're thinking about, okay, what could be the potential impacts of taking one job over a different job? So one job might have, for example, higher pay, while the other one has a much better benefits program. And you would think about what would be the effects of taking one job versus the other. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's look at some important dates. So you will have a draft due every week from now until the deadline. So your first draft is due this Sunday, June 5th, to both this class and the OWL. And remember that I will have links to everywhere that you need to submit your essay in my course. The second draft of your essay will be due the following Sunday, June 12th, and it'll only be due to my class, and you will submit it to me as well as to peer review. The final draft will be due the following Sunday, June 19th, and I'm sorry that this is a horrible Father's Day gift for all of you fathers. Lastly, after you receive my feedback, you may decide that you want to revise your essay to improve on your learning skills and your writing skills, or you're like, I really need to or want to improve my grade. And therefore, a revised draft will be due Tuesday, July 5th. And I gave you that extra little day so you can have a nice 4th of July weekend. All right, so let's look at some of your criteria for success, or basically how you will be graded for this assignment. So if we're looking at an overview, we want to think about where the most points are and what's most important. So first, as always, is your content development. That is, how many ideas and how fully developed are your ideas in this essay? And as such, that is worth 30% of your grade. The next important thing is organization. So thinking about Are your points logically organized throughout your essay, or does it seem to jump around a little much that makes it difficult to understand? Next will be the detailed description and tone, which is thinking about, are you describing your cause and effect relationship in a way that people unfamiliar with the relationship will understand it? Next is your grammar and formatting, which are worth 10 points each, and they are exactly the same as the concept essay. The only difference is that you will be getting 3 new grammar goals. So now let's talk about each individual criteria and what I will be looking for. So first is your content development. Your essay should clearly analyze a single cause and its likely effect or effects, or a single effect and its likely cause or causes. The cause and effect relationship should be clearly explained and understandable to a reader unfamiliar with the topic. And then we start thinking about what different parts of the essay should be doing, similar to the concept essay. So the introduction should hook the reader and introduce them to the cause and effect relationship, while the body paragraphs take up that space to really analyze this relationship and explain either the potential cause/causes or the potential effect/effects. The body paragraph should also build upon, support, and provide evidence for the thesis statement, which, as you remember, is in your introduction. Lastly, the conclusion should wrap up the main ideas from the essay. And overall, it should feel complete. And in general, that's just me saying oh, I had some question, I was confused about something. And so you need to make sure that your reader is going to feel like they have a good understanding of the topic once they have finished reading your essay. All right, so now let's look at the organization. And this looks a lot like it did for the concept essay. And the general goals for organization will remain fairly steady throughout the course. So there should be a clear structure that the reader can pick up and understand. And that should include an introduction, body paragraphs, and a conclusion. The introduction should include the thesis statement, like I pointed out earlier. Each body paragraph should analyze the cause-effect relationship and only have one main idea. And that main idea should be highlighted by a topic sentence, which is the first sentence of your paragraph. And that topic sentence should tie the paragraph's main idea to the thesis statements. One cool thing about the topic sentence and the thesis statement is that by reading your thesis statement alone, your reader should have a pretty good idea of what you're going to talk about in your essay, just not the details. And then, sort of like the thesis statement, when they read the topic sentence for a paragraph, they should know what you're going to talk about in that paragraph. And they should understand why you're talking about it. That is, how does it relate to the overall point you're making, which you mentioned in your thesis statement. Next, we should think about whether or not your paragraphs are organized in a logical manner that is easy to follow. So, for example, although it's sort of arbitrary that we've decided A, B, C, D, E, your paragraph should follow that general idea that we shouldn't be talking about A, and then D, and then B, C, and then E. That might confuse your readers. So make sure your paragraphs and ideas are organized in a way that makes sense. Lastly, the writer should use transitions both between and within paragraphs. So this is letting me know how one idea is related to the next, instead of just abruptly changing topics. Next, we have detailed description and tone, which again is very similar to the concept essay. For this cause and effect essay, you should provide 1 or 2 well-chosen, true-to-life examples to demonstrate the cause and effect relationship. The essay should contain many vivid details, that is showing, not telling, to help the reader visualize the cause and effect relationship. All details should relate to the central focus and be appropriate for the audience, that is, me and your peers. Lastly, we have our professionalism goals. So first is your grammar goals. So as with the concept essay, as we talked about before, your essay should not include any grammatical errors based on your grammar goals and abilities. And as with the concept essay, I will drop those to you the week of peer review. But I have already emailed all of you attachments that include your grammar goals for the rest of the semester. Next is format. And I'm not going to read all this, but you can. So if you want to pause this, then you can, but these are the exact same formatting goals as your concept essay. and they'll be the same for every single essay in this class. All right, now we are going to think about how in the world you should go about completing this assignment. And as always, the first step is brainstorming, because you can't write about anything until you know what you are going to write about. So to do that, you are going to think about what in the world, what kind of cause and effect relationships am I interested in? And you will select an event or problem that will not require research and brainstorm details related to its causes or effects. So as with the concept essay, outside research is not required for this essay. However, if you think that it will add to your assignment, you may. As with the concept essay, we will go into the details of how to cite things in APA 7 style in the next unit for the APA annotated bibliography and then the position and opposition essays. But because you haven't really learned how to do that effectively in this course, I'm not requiring that. But if you know how to, you may do that. The biggest thing is making sure to be academically honest. All right, so once you have thought about some causes and effects, you really want to narrow the scope of your essay. Because this is only a 1,300 to 1,500 word essay, you will not be able to talk about, for example, the causes of global warming. There are a lot of them. People have written like hundreds of thousands of pages on what has caused global warming. Even if you wanted to say the man-made causes of global warming, that would still be way too broad. Okay, so you really want to like narrow until you get to this crispy, juicy idea. All right, so one question that I might ask of you to think about as you're brainstorming, which could help you think of things that are important to you or that are close to you, and that also would probably be a pretty narrow topic, is to think about the things in your life that cause stress. I know there's lots of things in my life that cause me stress. So maybe pick one or two things and think about how these things relate to your stress and how they lead to your feeling stressed. Or you could think about what relieves your stress. So these are thinking about those whys of, what is causing something else to happen, or, causing not stress or de-stress. All right, so once you've thought about those things, then you can think about why do these things cause you stress or relieve your stress, which can end up playing out to an essay that you can write about in 1,300 to 1,500 words. And you can also reflect on your own life about things that could potentially improve your well-being. Right, so the next thing you're going to do is create your thesis statement. And as I've said before, the thesis statement is the most important sentence in your essay. And if somebody reads just your thesis statement, they should have an understanding of what your essay is about. So it has to take a stand and present a definite point of view. You can't just say, well, maybe this does this. In scholarly writing, this is called presenting an argument. It's not an argument like you're bickering. It's just that this is the claim you're making. This is like what I am arguing for. So your thesis statement should present an argument, not just something that is a fact or the subject. It should be something that people are willing and want to read more about. All right, so for this essay, you might start with a very basic thesis statement where you just say, X causes Y, or X is caused by Y. And there we see on one side we have the cause, and on one side we have the effect. You can absolutely keep with your very basic cause and effect thesis statement where X causes Y. Or if you want, you can move one step further and use a because statement, which includes both the cause and the effect. For example, you might say, because the cost of college tuition forces working class and poor students to either quit or skip college, that being the cause, the United States can no longer claim it is the land of equal opportunity. Effect, right? So this is a because style thesis statement. Once you have your thesis statement written and as you are drafting, you will need to, one, just get all of your ideas out. As we've talked before of Anne Lamott's method of just write it all down, make a messy draft. But once you are in a revision stage, or if you want to start thinking about your structure earlier, you will start out by having an introduction paragraph that summarizes the background information on the cause and effect relationship, including the essay's thesis statement. So that background information is anything that readers need to know before they jump into your essay. So anything they might need to know. So for example, if we are talking about CO2, in the background information, you'd probably want to tell your readers what CO2 is. Next, each of your paragraphs should have topic sentences that connect the main idea in each paragraph to your thesis statement, and each body paragraph should be filled with facts, details, examples, or reasons to support your topic sentences. So this is where you are really explaining your idea and proving your argument, your idea, your claim to the reader. Lastly, you will have a conclusion that summarizes the main points of the essay and explains how the conclusion connects to the thesis statement. Next, you will revise and edit. And we've talked a lot about what this means, and there's different ways to go about it. And you can see all the resources in the writing guides in Canvas. All right, so thank you so much for sticking around with me to learn all about your upcoming cause and effect essay. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll get back to you shortly. Bye.